song of hope, and it's not a song that I wrote. It's actually a poem that I came across some time ago, written by a woman named Linda Hodker. I did have taken the liberties of adding to the poem so that it made a song, and I added a chorus, and so hopefully I'll do it justice for Linda. This is called Hope Is. Hope is a feather floating in the bright blue sky. Hope is a sparkle that shines in your eye. It's a butterfly fluttering in the wind. It's good times spent with family and friends. Hope is a newborn baby's cry. Mother's lullaby. Hope is God's rainbow after a driving rain. Hope is the harvest of God's golden grains. It's the light that keeps the darkness at bay. The cool breeze on a warm summer day. Hope is here, and it's free of cost. Yeah, it's my hope. That hope will never get lost. Hope springs eternal, and hope gives us more. Hope is the key that unlocks the door for our dreams to take flight. God's love and light, hope is. Hope staying positive when the going gets tough. Hope seeking God when you feel like you've had enough. It's recovering from all of our sorrow, believing in a brighter tomorrow. Yeah, hope is here, and it's here to stay. Hope is the sunrise of every morning, God's given day. Hope springs eternal, hope gives us more. It's the key that unlocks the door for our dreams to take flight. To God's love and light, hope is. Oh, for our dreams to take flight, and to God's love and light, hope is. Wonderful.
Faith is guiding us. Not my brain, not my cousin, not somebody I saw on CNN. Faith within me. Well, today is the first day of Advent. Advent is the 4-Sunday celebration leading up to Christmas. We have our Advent wreath here. I love the Advent. I did not grow up with Advent as part of my background, but when I got into Unity, we delved into the metaphysics of it. It's just a really beautiful symbol for us. The first candle is hope. The Advent wreath represents completeness in the Christ mind, the Christ heart that we are, the individualization of God that we are. Now the wreath was borrowed from the Romans, who used it as a sign of victory. They would place it on the door when they were victorious. So we use the Advent wreath as a symbol of victory over lack and limitation. The lack and limitation of the planet says we have to be a part of, but we aren't, because the children of God are not defeated ever. So let's light the, Michael, what's this called again? The
That's the Shabbos.
Right. I couldn't remember the word for that. Well, we're doing that for the Advent candle as well. Well, the first candle gets lit today. The power of hope is lit and activated within us. The number 4 in spiritual numerology represents the foundation of God. It's the part of one of our basic unity beliefs is the 4 cornerstones of creation: thought, feeling, word, and action. Hope, peace, love, and joy are the cornerstones of the 4 powers of the Advent season. And this is helping us to give birth, to prepare us for the adventure, which is where that word comes from. The adventure of releasing and remembering who we are. We are divine beings in human form. So hope is the first one. Why hope? Why would that be the first one? It's because without hope, we don't have anything. Hope is the beginning of everything. One of the common responses we got at Silent Unity, I would get it maybe about 3 or 4 times a day. Somebody would call for prayer. You would do this prayer, this wonderful prayer. You are vitally alive. You are healed. Mighty currents of God's healing love is pouring through you now, making you whole and well. Thank you, God. Amen. And one of the few times during the day we would hear, I hope so. I don't know. I don't feel it. It's not working right now. Oh, I hope you're right. Bye-bye. That was a good prayer, too. I hope so. So in this context, hope is a wishy-washy kind of faith. I hope so. I'm not getting my hopes up. I don't know. Maybe. I doubt it's going to work, but thanks for the prayer anyway. Now the dictionary gives us 2 definitions of hope. One is something wished for. Wish is defined as to want or long for something that you don't have. So in this definition, we are pining for something that's out there that we may not or may have. We'll see. Let me call Silent Unity and see if it works. I don't know. We'll see. I hope. So in this definition, hope is seeing what you don't have and wanting to have it. Somehow I'm going to find a way maybe of getting it. But the second definition I found is more appropriate to the true meaning. It's a desire accompanied by the expectation of its fulfillment. A desire accompanied by the expectation of the fulfillment. That's really good, but it's still missing an element. So as I meditated on it, I came up with this. Hope is a desire accompanied by the expectation of its fulfillment by the power of God within me. That's real important to remember, that the expectation comes from God, the power to bring it forth comes from God. It is a God thing, all of it. So if we're hoping for the right and perfect job, we expect it to be done because the desire for that came from God originally. The original desire is always from Spirit. God is present within me, guiding me to where I need to go, to what I need to do. Who do I need to call? Who do I need to contact? How am I going to accomplish this goal? I was once counseling this businessman in New York. He said, I really need to meet this guy, but nobody can get in touch with him. He's like in a fortress. Nobody can get near him. But I know if I can just talk to him, he would really, really help me out with this situation, with this wonderful idea I have. And I said, you're trying to figure it out yourself. He's far away. He's over there. If you're going to meet him, know that Spirit is doing the work through you. It's okay. 2 weeks later, he comes back and he said, I was meditating on my divine idea I told you about, and I was guided to go for a walk. Just go out for a walk. I said, okay, so I'm going to go out for a walk. Went around the corner, there was the guy coming toward him. He said, hi, my name is, and they began to chat, and he said, we have a meeting set up to discuss this further. Spirit is the one that does it. We don't do it. We say yes to it, we agree to it, and then we move forward. He didn't know he was going to meet that guy going around the corner. He responded to an urge within him to move forward, to do the work. I love in your song, Michelle, it says, hope springs eternal. That's a quote by Alexander Pope. Hope springs eternal in the human heart. Over and over and over, because it is a divine idea. It's part of our makeup. It's part of our spiritual DNA. You were born hopeful. Remember being a kid, everything was possible. Everything. Until we were told it wasn't. By people who wanted to protect us. Thank you. And then we taught our children, we taught others, don't get your hopes up. Why? It's what we do. Hope, someone once said, is the parent of faith. But the truth is, it's the opposite. Faith is the parent of hope. Faith is a divine idea that gives birth to the excitement, to the realization, to the deep inner knowing that my desire comes from God. It's being expressed into my world through the expectation that my good is inevitable. It has to happen because I'm holding it in love and light and joy and gratitude. It has to pour forth because it's a God idea. And as we heard by our elder brother, nothing will be impossible to you when you hold to this truth. A few years ago, there was a star athlete by the name of Kenneth Wright. He was a high school football star and later became a wrestler, a diver, a boxer. Whatever he tried in sports, he did, and he did it brilliantly. One day in a wrestling match, he broke his neck and he became paralyzed from the neck down. The doctors told him one day he could probably walk with the help of braces and crutches, that it was not hopeless, that he actually will, in time, be able to walk. But he didn't have much faith that he was ever going to get better. He saw his life as completely gone. He called on 2 friends to take him into the woods, and when he got there, he committed suicide. At the same time, there was another paraplegic. His name was Jim McGowan. So even though he was confined to a wheelchair, made news by parachuting onto his target in the Poconos. The reporter interviewing him after the jump found out that Jim lives alone. He does his own cooking, cleaning, and laundry. He drives a specially made car. He's written 3 books. He did photography on a book about the history of wheelchair sports. And he has a very happy and fulfilling life. 2 men who had exactly the same physical challenges. One chose to have faith that life goes on and can become creative and satisfying, even though living life differently. The other one chose to give up because it did not appear on the outside that anything would ever get better. Nothing is impossible for those who believe. Not long ago, a psychologist conducted a survey of 3,000 people, and he had one question for them. I'd like for you to think about this for a moment. What do you have to live for? What do you have to live for? He was shocked to discover that 94% of the people he asked were simply enduring the present. 94% were hoping that the future was going to get better. Some were hoping that it would happen for them one day. Some said they were waiting for next year for it to get better. Others were waiting for tomorrow. Some were waiting for better times. Some were waiting to die. Some were waiting for things to change out there. All of those folks, 94% were waiting for the outer world to change so their lives would improve. And they're probably still waiting. Because if we're waiting for something out there to do something for us, we're going to be waiting a long time. God only works in the now moment when we call that forth. God does not change the past, it's already gone. God does not work in future hypothetical situations, only right now. The point of power is now. Where I am at this very moment is when I make a decision to have a great life, to be prosperous, to find healing, to know that God is at work and everything is in perfect divine order. Now, certainly, we prepare for the unfolding of this good. We do the job that we're here to do. We co-create with God, as we say in unity. We imagine it, we plan for it, we get excited, we give thanks before even seeing it. We become a child again, we become 5 years old, and every day is like Christmas morning. I can't wait to see what God has done today and what my part is in bringing that forward. Maybe I'm to go around the corner and go for a walk and see the person I'm supposed to see. I don't know. I just know it's happening. I just know this is exciting, this is fun. But the good coming is only the result of where I am right now in consciousness. And where I am today is the result of what I thought, said, and did yesterday and the month before and last year and my whole life. My life today is an aggregate of everything that I have thought, everything I have done, everything I'm saying over and over again. We don't doubt that the electricity will flow when we flick the light switch. Do you ever go to the light and go, I don't know if it's going to work today. I'm even afraid to try it. I don't know if I'm not going to have any light. What am I going to do? I'm going to sit in the dark. I don't know what, I'm going to die. No, I just go over and I turn the switch on. If the bulb blows out, we order another one. We don't get emotionally involved with the thing not turning on. Neither do we when we don't see God at work saying, God is at work. But the unfoldment sometimes looks a lot different than we think it's going to. We do deserve to have a life of joy. We deserve to have a life that works. A life free from pain. A life of creative stimulation. Of overflowing abundance. A life where you can't wait to get up and do what you came to do. 22,000 years ago, the Hebrew people knew that with God there was nothing they couldn't do. Even though they were facing a lot of problems under Greek and Syrian rule. Now, even though Alexander the Great pretty much left them alone to do what they wanted, a new king came along named Antiochus IV. And he wanted nothing less than the decimation, not of the Jewish people, but of the Jewish way of life. He wanted them to become Greeks. And if they refused, he would execute them. So Antiochus came into Jerusalem. He put a statue of Zeus in the temple. And he forced the Jews to bow before it under penalty of death. He also outlawed ritual, such as observing the Sabbath and circumcision, two of the big ones. But a few miles outside of Jerusalem, a group of Jewish rebels called the Maccabees had enough of being abused. They knocked down the Greek statues, they attacked the Greek soldiers, they attracted others to their cause, and they drove heavily armed battalions of Syrians out. Antiochus tried to retaliate by sending more soldiers, but the Hebrews were victorious over them too. They reclaimed Jerusalem, went to the temple, cleaned up. They had been using it as a barn. Imagine coming in here one morning when, after months and months, we had sheep and cows and everything else. That would be quite a cleanup. Any volunteers? But they did that. They went in, they began to clean. Part of the daily ritual was the lighting of the menorah in the temple. But the supplies were not going to be arriving for days, and there was only enough oil left for one day. But that did not stop the Jewish people from celebrating getting their home back. They partied. For days they partied. They were so filled with joy, the huge blowout lasted over a week. But in the middle of the celebration, somebody noticed that the lamp had not gone out. It was days later, and they said, it's still lit. We only had enough oil for one day. It burned continually for 8 days and 8 nights on 1 day of oil. It was decreed from that time forward that Hanukkah would be the joyful reminder of the victory of the Jewish people over religious persecution. Now, metaphysically, what is Hanukkah? The Greeks represent unbalanced materiality, the outside world that overwhelms our spiritual awareness. We know how easily that can happen, right? You go, no, I'm a very spiritual person. So you're getting ready to meditate, but the Real Housewives of Ohio, or wherever meditate, or oh my God, she's doing that again. So there goes our meditation. So we are very easily distracted by the world. We want to center, we want to do our reading, we want to... What's on? Oh my gosh, if somebody calls you, gets the latest gossip, I'll meditate later. All right, tell me all about it. The Jewish people, the Hebrew people, represent our spiritual awareness of God within. And confidently moving forward to know that God is doing the work through me and I am guided perfectly every day. So they stood up to the Greeks by affirming that God was with them, that God was good, and nothing was going to get in their way. Now what this means is that only by looking beyond the limitation of the outside world of mere materiality can we say this is just stuff. It's just stuff. It has nothing to do with the reality of my life. The limitations of the world really have nothing to do with us unless we give our power to it. We can get ourselves back in divine order, harmony, and joy by focusing where? Within. Not out there, but within. We didn't come to the planet to make money or to see how many cars we can get or see how many hours during the day in the office I can spend, because that'll make me a really good person. No, we came to do what? We came to let our light shine. We came to be the love of God in action. We came here to earth to be the best and most powerful, sacred being we can. The story of Hanukkah also reveals that the Jews went to the Greek camp after running them off, and they walked away with all the gold, the jewels, and the rich fabric that they could carry. The meaning of this is really powerful. It's a great prosperity lesson. When you hold to the truth of God, everything else is added unto you, as our great brother taught us. We have more than enough in our life, but we have to put God first. God is at work. God is my abundance. God is my prosperity. God is my job. God is my creativity. The power of Spirit is at work in me and guiding me perfectly to what I need to do and how to do it. The oil lasted for 8 days. The oil, metaphysically, is the power of God infusing our souls to move us forward every day to do what we have to do. Sometimes you get up and go, oh, I just don't feel it today. Anybody besides me ever feel that? That power, the oil of God, is the divine zeal and enthusiasm we need to do the work that we're here to do. So when we focus on joy, when we focus on light, when we focus on partying, which is what the people did. They focused on partying. They took their mind, they didn't even think about the candle. They were just involved with partying, having fun. Earth is a party planet. We've forgotten that. We're still waiting for our invitation. It's already sent to you. When you got here, that was the invitation. Roy, do you want to come up and help me here? Roy's going to come up and do our Hanukkah blessing. Tonight is the first night of Hanukkah. Generally we let it at night, but we're not here tonight, so. As the priests of old did, they took their cell phone to block the wind and to read the Hanukkah blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu lahadit ner shel Hanukkah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvah, commanding us to kindle the Hanukkah lights.
Thank you, Roy. Again, the key to keeping that light going and going and going is joy. Gratitude. Enthusiasm, the word literally means out of God. Enthos. How enthusiastic are you about your life? About the good coming forth that we don't even see yet. But we know is here. We know we were made to be good, to have have the good. That with God there's nothing lacking. There is nothing lacking in my life except for an idea that I have lack. I'm that powerful, I can create this whole scenario. Rewrite the script, rewrite your life, beginning today. After a football practice at a university, the football coach screamed at his team, "You dumbbell, now go take a shower." They all got up and ran off except for one player who sat there. The coach glared at that one player and said, "Well?" And the player smiled and said, "There certainly are a lot of dumbbells there, aren't there, coach?" Our identity is not dumbbell, it is not merely human, it is not stupid or limited. We have to remember that our worthiness as a holy creation of spirit is that I'm a divine being having a human adventure. I am here, I am divine. The more we remember our true identity, the different life becomes. So I invite you to begin the holiday season today remembering that truth. Who told me I was not an absolute joy? Who told me that I couldn't have my good, that I wasn't good? Who told me don't get my hopes up? That's exactly what we're here to do, get the hopes up. Up, out there. Forgive those who told you anything different. That's your assignment. Forgive those who told you anything different about other than your absolute glory and beauty, and that you deserve all the good. Take a breath, close your eyes. Breathe into your heart. Breathe that light. Breathe out. Breathe in, I am God's wonderful creation. Breathe out separation. Breathe in, I am God's absolute joy. Breathe out despair. Breathe in, I am the Christ child being born today. I am the light of the world. As we begin our time of meditation, we sing our way into meditation with "Lead Me to the Light." Help me to make it through. Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. entire being from head to toe, filling each cell, atom, molecule, muscle, organ. The healing light of God, the prospering light of God. Always here, how aware am I of the light within? It's not a separate light, it is who and what I am. I am the light of the world. As I begin to remember this truth, nothing I don't know. As I remember the truth, I begin to glow brighter, to shine forth, to be a healing light for others as well as myself. I am here to live the example of being divine in human form. What do I remember about that? Like many of us, you may have forgotten. A momentary lapse, that's all. Today I remember. I am holy. I am divine. I am one with the one. Where is my faith? Where is my hope? I have faith in God within. God is doing the work already. God's got this. What is my job? What am I being led to do today? Maybe it seems too simple, but we don't know the fullness of the truth yet. So I joyfully go forward today to do what my gut and my heart tells me is mine to do. Breathe in and let go. I hold to the truth of wholeness and strength. It's my right. I was born whole. The light of God heals me now. Breathe that into every cell, every part of your physical being, this body temple. The love of God heals me now. Let it flow. It's nothing I have to do but gratefully and joyfully acknowledge that truth. That's all. And wholeness is mine. The love of God prospers me. I was born prosperous. I learned from the planet about lack, limitation. That is not the natural flow of spirit. Life is meant to be good, abundant, creative. That's the life I call forth right now. The love of God prospers me in every way. The faith that I have in spirit brings new good, imagined and unimagined. The faith of God brings new good, imagined and unimagined so far. The best life we could think of, that we can image, not even close to what Spirit has waiting for us. When we let go and let God. In the silence of our being, just for a few moments, all it takes is one brief moment of quiet to know God and I are one. Breathe in. Let go. this realization of our oneness brings us forward to a wonderful, joy-filled day. And we are grateful. Take a breath as we bring ourselves back into this time, this place, this room. We've seen our way back with the greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you, Lord. I want to love you, Lord. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you.
When I was performing around DuPont Circle at this place called Soho Tea and Coffee at their open mic, and then we actually started getting gigs there. I was playing in a duo. And this wonderful couple, Tony and Lynn, would come and hear us play and support us all the time. And they were just such a beautiful couple in every respect of the word. They were just genuinely good, loving, compassionate, warm individuals, and super active and gorgeous. But that really didn't mean anything to them. I don't think they realized. But they were just beautiful people. And eventually we played at their wedding. And eventually we lost touch. They moved to California. I'd gotten an email in early 2000s that Tony had been in an accident. He'd fallen off of his bike. He was a really big biker. And he suffered a brain injury. And if you know anything about brain injuries, they manifest themselves in many different ways. His took the form of, it changed his personality. And she found herself married to this man that she didn't know. And it was just the most tragic thing, because they were such a beautiful couple. And he wasn't very nice. And it was just really, really hard. And I wrote this song from the perspective of the old Tony, as if he were still around, watching Lynn, trying to make these really, really difficult decisions. She was in her early 30s, of what she was going to do with her life, and what he really wanted her to do. So the hope in this song is hoping that she made the right decision. This is called Lynn's Song.
Hello, my love. Yes, dear, it's me. The man who loves you through the ends of time, the man you long to see. But we both know the old me's gone, replaced by a man who looks like me, the father of our son. I'm waiting for you in a parallel universe. I am always in your heart, where you should always turn first. Standing right beside you in everything you say, feel, think, and do. Don't ever doubt yourself, 'cause I believe in you. Hello, my love, again we go, trying to make sense of an accident that robbed me of myself, mind and soul. And here's this man who wears my shoes. He's walked for miles inside them, but he will never know me like I know you. And he believes that nothing get changed. He says I talk a little funny, and I have to use a cane. But he ain't the same man you married and fell in love with years ago. 'Cause everything has changed and he don't even know. I can see you weeping softly through the night. You're staying strong by day for a boy who doesn't understand your plight. Oh, and I can see you on your knees in silent prayer. You're filled with indecision, searching for answers. They're out there. Hello, my love. Yes, I'm still here. I'm your hope when you feel you can't go on, your strength when you're faced with fear. So trust your heart, or I resign. Let the love we shared be your rudder through the ever-changing tide. And I can hear our friends say you betrayed, but it was I who left you first. Through the darkest days you stayed. So when that cold truth cast its shadows over hopes of my return, know that the sun is shining somewhere, and my love for you still burns. Goodbye, my love.
Let's take a moment and close our eyes before we move forward to the rest of our day. Breathe the light in again. That light never goes out. It never has, it never will. We may not be aware of it. We may be focusing somewhere else, but the light is always here. The light that was your and is your parent if they have Alzheimer's. They're still in there. Tony was still in his soul, in his spirit. You are still you, no matter what you've gone through. You're eternal. You are loved. And you are loved. I invite you to bring into your heart those in your life who may be going through a challenge today. We hold them in love. We see the light in them. We see God in them. We see perfection. Perfection meaning complete, whole, nothing missing. We behold the God being that they are, that we all are. We enfold this city, this country, this planet in that light. Joy to the world, God is here.